Top List presents 6 weirdest things done by evil dictators. Number 6. Kim Jong-il. Shin Sang-ok was a famous film director known as the Orson Welles of South Korea. He established Shin Films and made many films through the 1960s, which garnered recognition for South Korea at various film festivals. In 1978, he was kidnapped and brought to North Korea, where he says he was imprisoned and forced to modernize the repressive country's film industry. Dictator-in-waiting Kim Jong-il wanted to show the world that creativity could thrive in North Korea. After 3 years in prison, Shin was united with Choi, and the two were instructed by Kim Jong-il to make films for him in order to gain global recognition for North Korea's film industry. The result was a series of films including Pulgasari, a blatant Godzilla ripoff, albeit with a socialist message and heavily controlled by Jong-il. After making many films for Kim Jong-il, in 1986, Choi and Shin escaped from North Korean supervision to a U.S. embassy while in Vienna. Pulgasari was released to the world in 1998 and was a flop. Number 5. Ferdinand and Imelda Marcos. Ferdinand and Imelda Marcos, rulers of the Philippines, were huge Beatles fans. The Fab Four were invited to play the Philippines on their 1964 world tour, which they accepted. However, upon arriving, they were greeted at their hotel by military personnel, who told them they were required to meet with the Marcoses at the presidential palace for a luncheon. Having just flown in from Tokyo and needing rest for their 2 shows later in the day, they declined. First Lady Marcos was outraged, and she quickly helped spread the word throughout the country that the Beatles had snubbed the president and his wife. Chaos eventually ensued, and the Beatles, who were used to being mobbed by screaming young girls, were now being threatened with death by an angry mob. They had to sneak back to the airport and run out onto the tarmac to catch their plane. Number 4. Idi Amin. President of Uganda from 1971 to 1979. Idi Amin was a ruthless dictator known for his erratic behavior. When he inaugurated himself president for life, he celebrated by being carried aloft through the streets in a sedan chair by 4 white men, which he jokingly referred to as the white man's burden. We Africans used to carry Europeans, but now Europeans are carrying us. We are now the masters. Number 3. Francois Duvalier. Haitian dictator Francois Papa Doc Duvalier was known to be extremely superstitious, as well as a practitioner of voodoo. He believed the number 22 to be particularly powerful. He seized power on October 22, 1957. In addition, he claimed to have placed a curse on President Kennedy, who indeed died on November 22, 1963. In later years, he felt the 22nd of each month was the only day safe enough for him to leave his palace. He died on April 21, 1971, after a long illness, but his last wish was it not be announced until the 22nd. Number 2. Muammar Gaddafi. Former Libyan dictator Muammar Gaddafi was known to love women. He even lavished gifts upon Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice. He took his adoration to the extreme, however, by employing only female bodyguards to protect him. Nicknamed the Amazonian Guards by Western journalists, these females were all trained in weaponry and allowed to wear makeup and high heels. They were also reported to be virgins. Gaddafi said he used these women for protection because he felt an assassin would have emotional issues about shooting a female. Now before we move on to number 1, if you're not subscribed, click the subscribe button and then click the YouTube bell next to subscribe to get notifications of more amazing videos. Number 1. Saparmurat Niyazov. He's not only a brutal dictator, but a dictator who runs his country like it's his own private Disney World. That country, Turkmenistan, is a former Soviet republic sitting strategically between Iran and Afghanistan. And the man who runs it is Saparmurat Niyazov. When the Soviet Union collapsed in 1991, the leader of Turkmenistan, Saparmurat Niyazov, stepped in to fill the void. He renamed himself Turkmenbashi and created a golden statue of himself in the center of the capital, which rotated so it always faced the sun. He didn't stop there. His face and name appeared everywhere, on money, street corners, vodka bottles, and he even renamed the month of January Turkmenbashi. I'm personally against seeing my pictures and statues in the streets, but it's what the people want, he modestly said. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. And for more countdowns like this one, subscribe to Top List.